Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Trainertainment's Think Tank Thursday. I am Candy Kelly, your host for this week, and I am thrilled to be here. I'm even more thrilled that you chose to be here. Before we jump in this week, I want to give some love to our 2024 Think Tank sponsors. So please give a shout out to Roller, Simnox, Delta Strike, BMI Merchandise, Expert Hosiery, and Embed, and also Betson. And our guest today is from Betson, so we'll jump into that in just a second. But we appreciate all the support that our sponsors give us. It is what allows us to provide you guys with a new episode each and every week. On Thursdays, Trainertainment likes to take a little bit of time away from the doing because we know being busy is a badge of honor. We're always so busy. There's always something else to be done, but sometimes we have to spend some time thinking, and we like to spend that time with the experts in our industry, owners, operators, vendors, suppliers, manufacturers, all of them, to provide you with any insight that may make your day-to-day business a little bit easier. And today, our guest is Amber Lambert. Amber is a regional sales representative from Betson Enterprises, but before that, she has worked for a card system. She has owned and operated her own family entertainment center. Man, she is a wealth of knowledge, and she recently wrote a blog for Betson called The Best Birthday Party Ever. And so, of course, Trainertainment loves to talk about birthday parties, so I thought it would be great to have Amber on to dive more into that blog post. So let's jump in and see how we can grow today with Amber Lambert. Amber, welcome back to Think Tank Thursday. For those who have not had the pleasure of meeting you, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself and your role at Betson?
Hi, I'm Amber. I'm with Betson. I have experience as a prior owner-operator. I started my own family entertainment center. I worked for a game card company, and now I work for Betson. I help people increase their revenue in their family entertainment centers through their arcade mostly, but I like to share my knowledge and try to help everybody out.
Now, in your role at Betson, I'm sure you go and visit numerous family entertainment centers across the country, and a lot of them claim to offer the best birthday party ever. You recently wrote an article about what you feel like is the best birthday party. So, what in your experience truly makes a birthday party special and unique within our industry?
Honestly, it's the human element, the interaction with the customer, with the parent and the kids. Think of the show Cheers, right? Like there's so many bars in Boston, but only one that knows your name, right? And so it doesn't have to be the fanciest bar. It just has to be, the one that makes you feel like you're coming home. And that's how I think creating the best birthday party makes you feel like the people that are celebrating with you, including your party host, is part of your family, and so it's having that human element and, giving kids high fives and interacting with them in a human way. So you don't have to have the fanciest attractions to make the biggest impact on somebody's birthday.
Now, everyone born before 1985 is singing the jingle for Cheers in their head, but they can't even help themselves.
Yeah.
So the human element is really what makes the experience. And I know that there are a lot of experts that talk about us being more in the experience industry rather than the attractions industry. Attractions are a thing, not what we make people feel. And so that's one of the key concepts that you really highlighted in your article. So how do you feel like FECs can enhance the party experience for the children and the parents beyond having the best attraction or the best, most newest laser tag game or whatever it may be?
Well, I mean, if you think about Disneyland, for example, they have, when they get reviews, it's always about how clean it is or that interaction when with that person that ran the ride. It's not ever about the rides itself. It's about,
Mhm.
everything else. It's all the little things. It's the food, the cleanliness and the interactions. And it's from the time you greet the guests to the time they leave. So making sure that the interaction is positive, at the redemption counter or, have a special birthday button so everybody that sees them, interacts with them in a positive way. So I would say that's probably how the experience plays into it a lot more than what you're actually selling in terms of attractions.
I always encouraged my franchisees when I was in operations to get not just the party host involved. Like we have a tendency to let the party host handle the birthday parties, but like how do you involve every employee that is working on that shift that day? And so one of the things that we would do is like each person had like a signature thing that they did with the birthday child. So I give the birthday child high fives. Shoot gun, do the little gun shoot thing. I tell them a joke. And so each one of them kind of chose a thing that they did. And we recognize birthday children with a sticker. And so when they were in line for that attraction or walking by or they came up to redemption, like it says, "Hey, I'm the birthday child." And so they would do their signature thing with the birthday child.
That's
So
awesome. And involve the parents too. You know, if we had like bumper cars or laser tag, we would always vest up the parent and make them play. You know, so usually it's usually making them play. It's not like, hey, do you want to play? And they would be like, no, I'm good. You know, he's like, no, you got to play, you know. And so encouraging them to interact with their kid, and they always have a blast afterwards. It's just the way you encourage them to do
oh no, Amber, but you just gave away a free game in that process. You gave
that.
away something for free by having that parent
Yes. Yeah. They're not going to buy it anyway, so they're just going to sit and watch.
So it's not a lost sell. It is an
No.
experience enhancer in that way.
Hmm.
And that's the way for to look at it. Um, Now something else that you can do, besides having like a signature move, like I just suggested, is maybe having some games that are kind of reserved for the parties that come to your center. So what party games did you do when you were in operations, or have you seen done well in the industry?
So I always had, you know, a bunch of different games for different situations, you know, from, you know, Cookie Face. They're all like minute to win it type games. And
Okay.
honestly, it was like I didn't believe in them at first. And it was, you know, a good friend of mine came into my center and showed me the impact it made. So we had a family leaving and she was like, come over here. And she got this family together and had them play this game. And then when they left, they, you know, had pictures and smiles. And it was like, and it wasn't just asking them, hey, do you want to play a game? They're always going to say no. You ask a bunch of
Mhm.
kids, hey, do you want to play a game? You're like, no, hey, come with me. We're going to play this game. It's awesome. You know, so it's not asking, it's hey, you know, encouraging them, telling them that this is what we're going to do. And, you know, they appreciate it at the end. And, you know, it feels awkward downtime. You can do everything from like heads up. There's always that weird time and it's just, you know, it's how you present it to the kids to fill that time instead of them just standing around like, hey, when's Johnny gonna show up? Right. So
Mhm. You were talking about asking, not asking, but actually more directing it. And when I think about it, as I am not only in this industry, I'm a mom. I've got two kids, and one of them is key birthday years. And I just came out of it with my other. So I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. I'm in those key birthday years. I don't want to make another decision. So if you say, "Hey, do you want to play a game or what game would you play?" Like in my head, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know these kids. Like, as I don't want to make that decision. But if I had a host or a facilitator that was like, and the next thing that we're going to do, everyone gather over here. This is what's going to happen. I would totally encourage that to happen as the party mom. I just don't want to make the decision about it. That's why I decided to have my birthday party outside of my home.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, Also with games, I in my operation day, we had what we called the party host treasure chest. And so different party hosts would gather different things to put in it. And so it would be everything from a crown to a cape. So if they noticed that the birthday child had a princess cake, they would go and get a crown and put it on. We had those brain quest games, which were always like little riddles for different age groups. So you could be like, oh, I have about 6 years old, and they would have those. So if you aren't creative but are a great party host, we had some tools, I guess, to help you out. And we were always allowed party hosts to add to it. So
Absolutely.
those are some ideas that you can do. Because the more you can include your party hosts into how did they make it more of an experience, the more they'll buy into the ideas and then really go forward with them. And so asking them to create games, and training and ongoing training with party hosts in our operations, we always had one party host who we picked them out of a hat and we're to be like, hey Amber, next month you are to come and show either a game or a trick, tell a joke, something to the party host that can help enhance the party. And so they would bring whatever. We had party hosts that learned how to do sword. Now we didn't know how to do a whole lot with balloons, but we could make some swords. Like that was about
Yes.
it. I only needed one trick, right? I don't have a whole lot of time. We had them that taught some magic tricks with cards, like just different stuff. And so they owned that, went on YouTube, found the thing, and then taught it to the rest of their party host.
One of the things that I noticed in my centers, some of the best party hosts I had were actually guys. And I've gone to a lot of centers that tend to not put guys in those positions for some reason. And they just have this way of interacting with the kid and the parents. And, I just had some of my best party hosts that were male.
I agree with you. In franchises, I actually had a couple of franchisees that be like, I don't want any male party hosts. And I'm like, well, then you're missing out because they are goofier. They're a little bit cheesier. They don't care as much about being cool in those teenage to early, like 20 years. And they will totally, like, they still like to play and they will play and engage the kids in a different way than sometimes the female party host. So I think you're
Absolutely.
missing out too. Um, all right. We all know we can make the best idea for our parties. We can have the best agenda with the best idea. And sometimes there are things that come up. So how is being flexible and then prepared for the inevitable, allowed you to adapt to enhance party experiences? Do you have any stories of that?
So yeah, we actually had one kid that invited a bunch of people and nobody showed up to his party. And so it was heartbreaking. And so we gathered the troops, all the employees came and we celebrated and made the best birthday ever for him, and so those kind of things happen. The timing for every party is never the same. The parents are never the same. Some want to be involved, some don't. Some want to have it go a certain way, some don't. It was always about communication, figuring
Mhm.
out how their expectation is of how the party's going to go, and then, trying to fulfill that. But being prepared for that is super important. For me, it was all about the entrance activities. So that's always the weird time. They're never always showing up together as a group.
Never.
They're all coming in, straggling in. And so you're like, well, what do I do while I wait for everybody? So, we did a wheel thing for a while. We did a tie-dye thing where they made a tie-dye shirt. So having some sort of activity or thing to do while you wait for the rest of the group to show up is really important.
What's this tie-dye experience you just mentioned?
Okay, so we had this spray on. We had created like a little station, and it was right at the front. So it was right when you come in while you're gathering people. And then the birthday kid and his friends, they would make this tie-dye shirt. It was just spray. You would, use little rubber bands. You'd spray it on there. We had a dryer in the back. We'd throw it and dry it and hand it to them by the end of the party. And so, it was a little gift for them to take home. And then anytime they were caught wearing it out in public, we would give them a game card. So they were out advertising for us. So we, explained how that worked. And I'd carry around game cards, see them at the grocery store wearing a tie-dye shirt and hand them a card. So it was
That's awesome.
great.
And so each one of their friends had a different spray. So all their friends helped in making the shirt.
Yeah, and it just gave us an activity to do while we waited for everybody to show up.
What a new twist to just giving them a birthday shirt for them, because a lot of people give shirts, but I love this twist to it. Um, your answer a minute ago said something about handling the expectations of what the party parents and the kids expect from the party. Tell me a little bit about how you handled communication before the party to make sure that you guys were prepared for that.
So, I mean, we first had a little check sheet. So it was like, told what kind of food was ordered. And so, while the kids are making this tie-dye activity, the party host would talk to the party mom and say, hey, okay, so this is our plan. How does that sound to you? So they would kind of tell them what's going to happen, but leave it open to them to say, hey, I was kind of thinking we do the cake and presents first, or, so you got to leave it open for it's not cut and dry, you got to leave it open for them to tell you what they want as well.
Um, Train Entertainment also teaches to do a pre-party call and try to, as a confirmation call. I just actually did one. I'm planning a soccer outing for our soccer team that we just got wrapped up our season. And, had that confirmation call. Can you confirm the head count? This is where we have you. We have you doing bowling first. Would you like arcade card that has unlimited play or credits, like that whole thing? And then she walked me through what the entire process was going to be. And as someone who is a planner, I really appreciate knowing that. I can't stand walking into a place and not knowing what to expect. Like that raises my anxiety like no other. Um, so, any of that you can do to give that communication ahead of time and set the expectations, but then you have to live up to those expectations as well.
Right. And some of that is even explaining how the end of the party works. And that's a huge
Mhm.
thing. It's trying to get a room turned around for the next party because a lot of people like to linger. So it's like, hey, okay, so at this time we're going to move your stuff here. We're going to move you here so we can turn it to so that way it's not a surprise to them when you're like, hey, start gathering their stuff that, they're like, what are you doing? And that leaves a negative impression at the end. So the more you can communicate up front with what the expectation is, the better it's going to go.
So, so in all of your travels, what are some of the most unique, like interactive, either upselling activities or activities that you've seen added to birthday parties?
So one of the things we used to do, we love taking pictures. Always try to get mom in a picture, but we like to get a picture of the whole group, parents, everybody, get them in a picture. We had a little printer at the station, so when the kids were out playing laser tag, the party host would print two pictures. One would go on our wall to, show all the parties that we had, and one would go in like a little kind of paper frame, like cardboard frame, and it would go to the parent. So it was like a little memento that reminded them of the party. And a lot of times moms aren't in pictures. They're always taking the
Yeah.
pictures. So the more
Mhm.
times you can get mom or dad in the picture, upselling is huge. That's why do you want fries with that is, McDonald's, right? Like
Yep.
that's we did a candy bar. I loved the candy bar. It was like a station that would come in that they all, each had like a little box that they could fill with their own candy.
Oh, very
Um,
cool.
but kids don't love candy. I wasn't a big fan of the goodie bags. So instead, they'd either get the candy bar or we would do like a big 18-inch rainbow knobby for each one and put them on the chairs. And it looks really cool when it's set up, something they actually keep instead of the little junky stuff. And, the price on it's under $2. So, we sold a glow experience as well that came with glow sticks and all of that stuff. So there's a lot of creative stuff you can do to enhance that party experience and enhance how much you're making on it.
Um, I've also seen those, and I've seen them in an inflatable format and a hard shell format, like those tornado things where you get like it's tickets, I guess you're
Oh
getting
yeah,
to
yeah.
go turn in at the redemption, right? Like it's a
Hmm.
tornado of tickets.
Yeah, those are fun too.
Um, from my own operations experience, I was never a huge fan of themes on it. I'll be honest, and I'm fixing to ask your opinion about it, just because the kids are fickle. That's what I learned. Like I would invest in this theme, and then a month later, I'd still have half of the box of it because that had moved on to something else or it had gotten a revision. Um, how do you feel about themes, and what are some other, like, we would incorporate more colors, like find out their favorite color and make sure that their room was decorated in that way, or the balloons matched that, and or things like that. How do you feel about themes and those types of like decorating enhancements that you could possibly do?
Yeah, I mean, we had themed out our rooms, so they were like
Mhm.
pretty generically themed. So we were like, hey, you get the jungle room, and so it was more than the party. So if the parent wanted to bring in stuff to theme out the party, great. But we didn't provide that,
Mhm.
because it's just too like there's too many options, there's too many themes, there's Barbie's popular now, but in 2 weeks it'll be something else. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, we were pretty generic on like our plates and things like that. So,
I felt the same. We just branded them with our brand, and that's it. And because of that, and so I think that's one of the big mistakes that, like, when I see new people come into the family, they'll have like, you can choose between, I don't even know what's popular now. I'm about to show my thing, like Dora or Bluey or all these things, and they invest in boxes, like cases of them, and then they're still sitting on them a year later. And inventory on your shelf is not money in your bank, is what I always say. And so the difference of that. Um, what about partnerships? When you were in, and I know I'm going totally off script on you, I apologize, but partnerships, like I have a client right now that is partnered with a balloon arch person. And so that is an upsell that they offer. They sell and they pass the cost off. And then this balloon artist comes and makes these mini arches to put in the room based off the colors that they choose. What other partnerships have you seen out there?
We used to do cakes, so we had a couple of bakeries. We had a Cold Stone that we partnered with for like ice cream cakes, and we had just a regular like grocery store, and we had them kind of do customizing with the names and things like that. So we gave them basic options. I mean, I always looked at it like, like at redemption when you check out. The more options you have, the longer the kid's going to be there deciding. So if you have, hey, do you want A or B? Then it gets you through the process quicker and makes it a better experience. So we tried to do the maximum of three different options, when it came to those kind of things. But yeah, a cake baker is definitely a partnership. A lot of the stuff we tried to do ourselves, like the balloon animals, we tried to learn how to do that, or the glitter tattoos, things like that you could add on to parties. But
Oh, I've seen that station at IAPA before where they sell the whole like kit for glitter tattoos.
yeah, super easy.
Is it?
Yeah, you just put on like it's like a little glue stuff on a little stencil, and then you do the glitter, and they're good to go.
Because I think sometimes operators worry about that, like how much time will this add to the party and will we be able to manage it? And so some of these suggestions you've had in this interview are actually quite simple. Don't take a whole lot of time. Even the tie-dye thing didn't seem like would take a ton of time off of it, but would be very easy to execute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Earlier you alluded to the parents and you said, I said something about the kids and you said, well, also the parents. What are some of the top, like two or three things that you see that we sometimes make mistakes as operators of overlooking the parents? Because it's really us. It's us as parents who are signing that bill at the end of it. So how do we incorporate them more? How do we make sure their experience is just as good as the kids? Because kids are kind of easy to satisfy sometimes.
So I used to have employees that would come in and they would, apply for jobs, and they would always say, "Oh, I'm great with kids." I'm like, we don't really interact with them that much. Like they exist in our facility. How are you with angry party moms? Because that's who we deal with, right? Like that, the kid, like you said, kids are easy. So, one of my first parties, I was so unprepared. I had just opened. I didn't even have a host. Didn't think anything of it. Knew nothing about my business. I was still so fresh. I was hosting like four parties at the same time personally while making pizzas and doing everything else. So, it didn't go well, and the kids had a blast. So this mom is just tearing me up about how terrible it was, the experience. And right next to her, the kid's like, "That was the best birthday ever," and I was like, she had no, for her, it wasn't the same experience as it was for the kids. So, making sure that the party mom is also enjoying herself. And again, it's a communication, hey, bring her a special drink, have her be in that picture, have her try to, play something with the kids, make her a game card. Like doesn't cost you much to be kind.
I will add to that. I think communication again solves most problems. Moms like party parents like to know what to expect next. The moment they don't know what the next step is or what the next activity is or what is happening next, it's like you can visibly see their anxiety start to grow because they are like, what's happening next? I thought the pizza was supposed to be here. Shouldn't the pizza be here at, 1 o'clock? It's 1:07. Well, the pizza's not coming to 1:30. And it's perfectly fine. Everything in the background may be fine. But if that mom has an idea because we didn't communicate clearly to her, she will start getting all riled up. And so
It's,
just
isn't it
letting her
funny
know.
that it's us moms, it's not the dads. Like the dads are so chill. It's all the moms that have the anxiety that want it to go perfect.
I have a double dose. I'm Southern, so I'm Georgia, so that being a perfect hostess. So I'm not only worried about myself and like the kids, I'm like every other parent that has come and is sticking around. I'm like, are you okay? Do you need something to drink? Yeah, the pizza will be here in just a minute. Like I'm telling them all the time.
Well,
Um,
and it's easier to market to the people that are already in your facility. So all those other people's parents and all those other kids, if they have a good experience, they're going to have their birthday there. So it's
mhm.
less cost to you to advertise if you just, you know, perform and do a good job.
And anyone who's a party parent knows that parties at facilities happen in waves. So if you get invited to Annie's birthday party at this facility, you can expect 3 to 4 more invitations to that facility because everyone who just went to Annie's birthday party, like it's a wave of invitations to that. So we want to be on those waves.
And you know, we used to do a pullback promotion with our card system. So each one of their game cards would have additional value on it that would be good starting the day after the party. So it was a way to say, hey, you know, if your parents aren't here at the party, bring them back because you have money in your card starting tomorrow.
I'm glad that you brought that up because you are part of Betson, so I would be amiss not to ask you, how can operators incorporate more their cards and the arcade system into making a unique experience for birthday parties?
Yeah, I mean that was the big one is just the pullback promotions, but my favorite thing was to do like a five, you know, I had three different packages. So a $5 game card, $10 game card, and the unlimited. And that was like, you know, free play. It was an hour or 2 hours of arcade play. But when you do that, you would also want to bulk encode a certain amount of tickets. So you say, hey, everybody gets 250 tickets. And that way, you know, it was an easy upsell because mom doesn't want her, you know, kid to not get any tickets while the little bully kid gets, you know, the jackpot, right? And it
Hmm.
always happens that way. So it was a nice way to upsell them into something that, hey, this is fair for everybody. Everybody gets the exact same when they check out for redemption. So you know, that's definitely was an easy upsell into my unlimited package.
Oh, very nice. So we've got bounce back or pullback. You call them pullbacks, which I've actually
Mhm.
never heard that phrase, where they have credit on their game card, but it does not start until the next business day, correct?
Yeah. And you could set it for a certain number of days. So for us, it was 10 days. So they had 10 days to use it or it expired. It went away.
Which is the best type of bounce back because they were invited to an event, being a birthday party. Now, how do I get them to come back as a family and experience that aspect of our business and to make them more of a loyal guest? And so I love that. And we spend so much money marketing externally. Sometimes I do think that we miss the boat marketing internally to the people who come into through our doors.
Yeah. I mean, you see that with, you know, I don't know, like the Dish and those kind of things. They're always offering promos to new customers, but you've been there
Mhm.
for 30 years and they're keep, you know, raising your rates. So
I know. It's so much more expensive to get new people. Just take care of their life.
yes.
Client retention is important.
Yes. You know, you
Uh,
could also do drawings and things like that, you know, for free birthday parties to get people that are in your place, you know, so set up a table with like a little place where they can enter for a drawing and that's another way that you can connect with people and, you know, get information and advertise that you do birthdays.
well, we are definitely going to link to your article and let people read all the that's we just hit on some of the top level stuff to for this interview. There is a lot more information in there for everyone to check out. But of course, I have to ask you a signature question before our time is up. So, what are you currently doing, Amber, to grow yourself?
I try to find a lesson in every encounter I have. So everything and everybody I meet, I want to find out what I can learn from that person or that experience. So my kids teach me patience every day. So
So reflection, you're big on reflection. You and Beth would have a lot to talk about. She's always, anytime I do anything, the first question when call her is, so what did you learn? Like, can I process it first and then I'll tell you what I learned? But that's our first question every time. All right. And then where can people connect with you to learn more about you or Betson?
social media is a good place to start. Connect with me and Betson. We have tons of amazing people on our team that can teach all kinds of stuff. So it's not just me. We got a great team. And then go to LinkedIn and check out my monthly blog.
All right. Well, thank you again for spending time with us, Amber.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Didn't you have a lot of insights and takeaways from that interview? I love when I have people on who have really lived the life of an operator and are given input into things like birthday parties. And Amber has definitely been there. Having those personal stories make for a great interview. So I want to thank you to Amber again for spending her time with us. And then thank you again to my 2024 digital sponsors, which is inclusive of Betson, where Amber is the regional sales representative. Remember, if you have an idea for Think Tank, if you'd like to be a guest on Think Tank, or if you would like to sponsor Think Tank, please contact me, Candy@TrainerTainment.net. We can definitely talk about that. And then, of course, this week's episode was all about birthday parties, and Trainertainment loves birthday parties. So if you would like to discuss how you can grow in your birthday party success, we are committed to helping you. So give us a call. You can go on Trainertainment.net and schedule a growth call with one of our brilliant coaches or salespeople, and we can see how we might be able to support your birthday growth journey. Also, check us out in real life. We love to talk to everyone in real life, so all of our upcoming events and appearances can be found under our events menu at trainertainment.net as well. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep being awesome.